My name is Samuel Nyagah Ireri. I am a diasporan leader. I am also the diaspora from the Diaspora National Governing Council. I'm the political strategist affiliated with Kenya Kwanza government. And this is my opinion on the finance bill of 2024. First and foremost, I want to thank all the Kenyans when it came to the passing of the 2010 Constitution that gave us a mandate and an opportunity to have public participation when it comes to such kind of bills. On this opinion, we have to look at certain things when it comes to raising taxes and raising revenue so we can be able to continue to do the developmental projects for our country to be able to take care of the welfare of our fellow Kenyans. With that being said, the modalities of how we raise taxes, how we raise revenue, it should be on a level set and predictable manner. When it came to this finance bill of the 2024, we have had a lot of Kenyans and stakeholders participate, and there's been a common Kenyan mwananchi cry, if I can put it that way. We have four main taxes that mwananchi has talked about that have been introduced that people are crying about, and this is the motor vehicle tax, the eco levy, also what I call the bread tax, and also tax on financial services. This four has been the main things that a lot of people are wondering why they've been introduced, and they're looking at it's going to be able to suppress the mwananchi. But when you look at it in real sense, these are things that were supposed to be there and introduced to the tax. Those taxes were supposed to already have been introduced. But the methodology of how it's been introduced to us is where common mwananchi is feeling the pinch. I do fault that when it comes to civil education, where our country is, to the common mwananchi, we are not there yet. So it should be one of the key things that we first work on is educating mwananchi on the taxes that they pay, where they should be at when it comes to their tax brackets and paying their taxes, income taxes and all that, as well as how they should be able to participate in this process. So my recommendation to Parliament is when it comes to these four items to put that on hold. The rest of the things on the taxes, the increments that are there, they're well sought out, and there's reasoning for that, because when you look at the finance bill of 2023, which actually the president ascended into the Finance Act of 2023, we look at the fiscal deficit. We cut that fiscal deficit from 5.3% to about at 3.3%. So about a 2% margin that we've done well on that. So looking at this budget and looking at the inflation rate, looking at how the dollar stabilized, actually the dollar stabilizing now, we have gained about 65 billion Kenyan shillings just because of that. Looking at those things, we're heading in the right direction. But when it comes to the taxpayer morale, that's where the biggest issue is. And if we don't do it right, it's going to lead to a lot of compliance issues. And when we lead to compliance issues, that means we're not able to even capture majority of the taxes that we want so we can be able to help the people. Then we have done zero work. Then we are back to the drawing board of like, guess what? We increase more taxes because now people are not complying, and then less people are paying taxes. We need to broaden the tax base. At the same time, we need to make it very fair to everybody. So my recommendation is we need to actually have an evaluation of those four things. And especially like when you look at the bread tax, I know it's a zero-rated product right now, which means that the government does not charge any taxes on the sales, but the producers of bread, they do claim credit from the government for all the materials and ingredients that are used to pay that bread. So we can continue, we can stabilize that price. Sababu bread is one of the basic needs of mwananchi. But the government does lose money because of that, because now the producers are coming for credits for that, whereas you're not gaining any revenue from the sale of the bread. So, and we look at it, if we move it from the zero rated to an exempt status, then we're looking at now the producers cannot be able to claim any credits. And yes, there's no VAT on the sale, but at the same time, the producers are not able to continue to do that because there's no incentive for them, meaning we'll have shortage of bread in the market, which means that the prices will be increased and mwananchi will continue to pay more for that. The key thing here is, of course, to have tax on it, but then how do we introduce that tax to the mwananchi? And I also look at it, how do we broaden the commodities that we tax? right? And then we can bring the VAT down, but broaden, all the products that are taxed on that. And that can actually be able to have an increment. Mwananchi will be able to understand why they're being taxed. The tax on bread, of course, is going to stabilize the economy, is going to be able to stabilize the prices of that. And the other thing the government needs to do, in conclusion here, is also to have a predictable tax measures and increases, because we look at the investors, we look at the businesses, the business world. They need at least a 3 to 5 year game plan when they're starting a business and all that. And if taxes are gonna, they predict that, we don't know what the country will stand at the following year when it comes to taxes, then we're gonna lose out on that. So my recommendation, first and foremost, is a civil education, and where that civil education can come in, especially is in February. Normally we start. We start with the budget policy statement. When that budget policy statement is introduced to Parliament, and Parliament gives a nod to that, before we get the budget estimates, stakeholders and some public participation should happen, and then the National Treasury could be informed from there. And they could go ahead now when they're presenting the finance bill, they have some public feel. And that's where actually civil education should also happen to majority of Kenyans. So when we get that finance bill, then when we bring back public participation, the Mwananchi is coming to participate from a standpoint of being educated and informed on these taxes. And then the committee of finance can be able now to take all those, put their report together, table that in Parliament, and it's going to be a win-win for our country. We'll continue to root for our country. Kenya is a great nation, and we're hoping that will continue to be great. Thank you.